Hello everybody and welcome back to Manifest with Finesse on YouTube. My name is Manifesting Gaia. That is my Twitter, TikTok, podcast, and Instagram. All the links are down below. And my affirmations list and audio rampage email is down below. And today I'm going to be doing a video on what being means. Being means you are. I am. In Christian Bible, God calls himself I am. I am is God consciousness, is the awareness that you are God. Which is why I don't understand when religious people say, oh, I don't know if I can say I'm God. I don't know if I can believe that. What do you think the symbolism of God sending Jesus down to earth was? He didn't have to do that. He was already communicating through the clouds, through burning bushes. The symbolism was to show that God and man are the same. I am the same. This is just a human representation of me. He is exactly like you. I know not everybody's religious and you don't have to be. This is just for the people who are and act like it's separation and they're separate from God. Do you know the symbolism? If you look at Jesus's hands on the cross, do you know why 2 fingers are up? Do you know your religion? It was the symbolism that he is both God and man. It was 2 fingers for that reason. You are God in human form. I am. The name of God is I am. So yeah, you are God. Especially if you believe in an external God who were made in his image and likeness. And his image is perfection, power, no voids, no limitation. So if you were made in a limitless, perfect God in his image, you are limitless and perfect. God cannot make any mistakes, so you cannot make any mistakes. So if you believe in God or an external one and you believe all of this creation is perfect, why, when it comes to you, would you believe that there's limitations? Oh, I don't know if I can manifest. You are always manifesting because you're always conscious, and God is consciousness. It's awareness. When you say I am, you are saying this is me. If you say I am successful, you are saying I am success itself. It's not something that I'm obtaining. I am it. It is me. Success is consciousness. Everything you want to be is a state of consciousness and awareness. It is not outside of me. It is not separate from me. As God, I am everything that I claim. I am is the name of God. So if you're saying I am, you're saying God is success. You're saying I am success. That is why we say the second you desire something, step into it. You're not obtaining, you're awakening. There are different states of awareness and consciousnesses in you. The consciousness of wealth, the consciousness of lack, the consciousness of being in love, the consciousness of being alone. It's inside of you. But you cannot be in 2 opposing states at the same time. You cannot be successful and unsuccessful at the same time. You cannot believe that you're with your specific person and not at the same time. You have to pick one. If you're in a state, awareness, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, you don't have the thing you want. The consciousness of you that has the thing you want is dormant. You have to awaken it. You have to be it. That's why you have to be first. You can't be something that you're not aware of, that you're not stepping into. That's why we say you already have it, because it is already within you. It is not separate from you. Who you are is who you're being. That's what being means. Who are you? Do you have it or not? Are your thoughts, behaviors, urges aligning with you having this thing or not? You are always in a state of being. That's why when people are like, oh, should I give up on manifesting this thing? You can't give up on it because you're always in the awareness of it. You always have a story of it. You're always going to have a story about money. You're always going to have a story about love. You're always going to have a story about that specific person. You're always going to have a story about school, about work, about career, about success till the day you die. So there is no not manifesting it. If you were never manifesting, nothing that you're looking at right now would exist, because it's all in here. We are human beings. We're always being. That is our nature. Being is your state. Like I just said, do you have it or not? So the word state is just shortened for state of being. State is who you're being. Who are you? Who are you? What is your state? You are not separate from anything. I don't care what it is. You are not separate from anything. There is no separation. There is no difference between experiencing something in imagination and experiencing in physical reality. Me imagining a pillow in my mind and seeing one in real life is the same thing, because they both come from the same place, which is my awareness of them. Nothing can show up that I didn't entertain in here. You have to get rid of this idea that things are only real when they're materialized, that your desires are only real when they're materialized. The second you desire it, it is done. That is self-concept. If you're not there, it is a self-concept issue, because self-concept is the foundation. Because if you don't believe you can have something, you cannot be it. If you do not believe you have something, you cannot be it. Self-conception. You'll get to that place of, if I desire it, it's done, when you work on it. That is what helps you manifest the fastest, is self-concept. If I can conceive it, I can have it. If that's my self-concept, what am I questioning? There's nothing to question. I decided. My word, God's word, is final. A lot of you guys will see it in your minds and then come out of that and then say, well, it's not here. Yep, because you went right back to being the person who lacks it. You went right back to looking for lack. My most recent podcast episode is about lack mindset. It's not that you think about it or thought about it or affirmed for it 3 hours ago and it has to show up. It's who you're being right now. The past doesn't matter. The past does not create. Now creates. The future doesn't decide. You are creating everything right now. Who are you being right now? Who are you being right now? Are you doubting? Are you questioning? Are you flooding my DMs asking for free advice? You're doing all of that and then asking, why isn't my 3D changing? Look at you. Look at who you are being. You have no self-belief. Belief is what creates your state of being, because what we believe and assume is what creates. Law of assumption. Assumption is something you believe without evidence of it, that you have accepted in your mind, period. Just like how y'all accept, oh, SP isn't changing, even though you don't know that. You don't know that. Even if they say that, you don't know that. Is lying not a thing anymore? It's what you believe it is. It's what you accept as true. It's what your perception. And what you accept as true, your perception is going to come on base of what you think you deserve and can have, which is your self-concept. Self-concept creates your states of being. Reality is perception. It is not techniques. I don't care if you affirm and visualize all day. If you come out of that and go right back to scanning your reality, looking for lack, right back to complaining, right back to doubting, right back to asking what if, right back to being the person who has to watch all this content, get all this coaching because they don't believe in themselves, the techniques aren't going to do a thing because you just neutralize them. Techniques aren't what create. You do, your state of being. Look at who you're being after doing the technique. Techniques are only meant for us to experience the fulfillment of our desire in the now. That's it. Anything that you're trying to make it be other than that, it's not going to work. Because if we're experiencing the fulfillment of our desires in the now, we will get pushed to the state of being where we have it. Because one, your mind does not know the difference between something you're imagining, a pillow in your mind, and a pillow in reality. There is no difference. You are telling it what you're experiencing in the physical, but the physical is not creating. The physical should not be creating who you're being. If it is, you are a victim to your own identity selection. You created no contact because you believe you're worthy of no contact, because you don't believe they can change, because you keep focusing on what they said, what they did, what you said, what you did. You're being in the past. You're only focused on the past. So your past will keep recreating itself in the present, because the present is the only thing that creates. So if you are not using techniques to be the person, you're going to be one of those people who use techniques forever and don't see anything, because you are persisting and not trying to unbecome the unloved, broke, jobless person. You are persisting to try to force, as the person who lacks it, as the person who is unloved, broke, jobless. Nothing except for you controls change. If you're trying to force being a person who doesn't have, then you're just going to be a person who doesn't have and is forcing. I'm sure many of you can relate to doing techniques for a long time and nothing happening, and you're like, what am I doing wrong? That is what you're doing wrong. You are not trying to change you. You're not trying to change who you're being. You are trying to force your physical reality to change through effort, when physical reality is not force-based. It's not effort-based. You are doing a technique still having the same perception that money is hard to get or that you have to work for it. You are trying to change a specific person still having the perception that they have not changed. You are trying to change your school grades with the same perception that it's so hard, school is so hard, I have to be perfect in the 3D to be able to get into a good school. You cannot hold a story of something outside of you that you don't have yourself. How are you going to hold a story that you are seen as favorable by your SP, by this job, if you can't even hold that story about yourself? If you're like, SP does not love me, he does not choose me, he does not want to talk to me, you're not going to be able to hold the story that he's going to be able to do it, because you are trying to go through him to you. Whatever you're trying to manifest is a mirror of you. I don't care if you try to create the separation that SP is his own person or they're their own person. They're not. You are trying to change the story of how they see you, which is just a story of how you see you. If you knew you were loved, wanted, and chosen, you would have no problem being able to hold that story that SP sees you that way, because you already see yourself. But you're not going to be able to see someone else as seeing you as something you don't see yourself. It's like trying to teach somebody a language you don't know. You don't know what it's like to be seen as wanted or chosen, because you don't know that yourself. So how do you think you're going to be able to hold the story that somebody else does? I don't know Russian. I don't know that for myself. I cannot teach you something I don't know. I have to know it first. I have to know it better than you. You have to know the stories better than the 3D, better than the desire. You have to know that you're wealthy more than money can know you're wealthy. That's what creates more of it. You have to know you are loved better than SP knows you are loved at first. So a lot of you guys are saying, oh, I'm visualizing my school grades being different, but I don't actually believe it can happen unless I do XYZ, unless I work for it, unless I study, unless I beg for them to change, but I'm still just going to visualize anyways. What? If you do not believe in yourself, what is the point? Again, you're not going to be able to hold the story that you can't even hold about yourself. If you think you have to do XYZ for your grades to change, reality is going to keep reflecting you having to do XYZ for your grades to change. People who are not persisting to get something in 3D, are not persisting to force 3D to change. When you persist to force 3D, you are separating yourself from it. And you're seeing manifestation as a process when it is just, this is how quickly we can change our states of being. I can see myself as a really successful online coach, and then in the next thought, I can see myself as a failure, and then focus on that, and it grows, and my reality will reflect it. I don't have to affirm to change myself to believe that. I just shift there. It's going to be harder to shift based on your self-conception, but I already said a million times to change it. But we're assuming that you have already done that. When you can do that, your states of being changed like this. You don't even have to do that. For example, a lot of you have poor self-conceptions. You're affirming for SP, you feel great for 2 seconds, and then your state of being changes in 2 seconds, and you go right back to doubting. You didn't have to do a technique for that. That's your natural state of being because your self-concept is low. So if you're one of those people that think, okay, I have to affirm 10,000 times because I need to change 3D, that's not you being the person with it. You're not going to be the person with it because you are accepting 3D as the boss, as God, as final, as permanent, as hard to change. A lot of people are like, there's no such thing as affirming to get. Yes, there is. And I'm gonna tell you why. How come people who affirm for hours, weeks, months, days straight don't get anything? And why does it vary? Why can some people affirm like for 3 hours and get what they want, and other people do the same and don't get it? People say, oh, it's because they're wavering with their affirmations. Exactly. And if they're wavering, they're not being the person. Because the being is what creates, not the affirmations, not the techniques. If you're being a person who's lacking, if you're trying to get, you're not being the person who has it. It's going to take you longer than somebody who's just saying affirmations to switch their state of being. Do you understand? In my video about time not being real, I kept making the point, you should be the person who has it now. There is no in 3 days. If you are not being the person with it now, reality cannot reflect you being the person with it in 3 days. Everything happens through the now. Creation happens through the now. Because who you are being now is what affects. So how do you know who you're being? Thoughts, your behaviors, the inner conversations you keep having with yourself. Is stalking your SP's page or checking your bank account with a pit in your stomach just so you can get a hit of dopamine because you want to see something good even though you haven't changed? Is that being the person who has it? Is that being the person who SP cannot get enough of? Is that being the person who never has to check their bank account because they have so much money? When you know you're your desired weight, you don't check the scale because 3D is not controlling who you're being anymore. You are now with your being controlling the 3D. When you remove your validation from it, it cannot show you something you are not accepting. I cannot teach you a language I don't know. 3D cannot change before you do. You cannot read yesterday's newspaper and expect today's news. How do newspapers create new information? With new stories. You need new stories. So if you want to change who you're being, focus on yourself most of all. Come back into the present moment. Regulate yourself. Nervous system regulation. Deep breathing is the easiest, but you can look them up. Deep breathe it back into this present moment. And for the love of God, change your beliefs about yourself. Change your beliefs about that area of your life. Stop saying it's hard. Stop saying love is hard. Stop saying manifestation is hard. Stop saying it's hard to start a business. Stop saying it's hard, money's hard. And change your beliefs about that specific desire. Stop focusing on what they did, what they didn't do, what your money story was, what it isn't. I don't care. That's my 3-step self-concept formula. I'll make a video on it. Change your beliefs about yourself, number 1. If you're not going to do anything else, change your beliefs about yourself. Nothing outside of you is going to hold a story you don't have about yourself that you are not being. Stop doing things to force and to get. And you don't even feel good doing it. You don't feel good affirming for hours on end, but you're doing it anyways to try to force a result. Does that sound like that's how manifestation works? Did you have to affirm for hours on end that you and your SP would break up? No, because your state of being was naturally was there. Because your self-concept was naturally there. Because your beliefs about yourself, the area of your life, and your specific person all matched. Change them. That's scary. If you can do something you don't like for hours because you want to force a change in your 3D reality, that's scary. You don't care about how you feel, which doesn't make any sense because you guys don't like yourselves. So why would SP like you? Why would money like you? Why would this company like you? You are the center of your universe. You need to have that energy with your desire. I don't care about the SP. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I care about me. Instead of I care about everything except for me. You only care who you're identifying with because one, it's what feels the best, and we should always be creating through what feels good. And number two, that's what affects. That is what affects who you're being, who you identify as. What are your thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, attitudes, expectations, assumptions? What do you believe about yourself, about the world, and about that specific desire? Change them. Stop making the focus outside of you. Stop trying to force outside of you. Stop doing things to get. Stop reaffirming the story you don't like. Stop with the coaches. Stop with the watching every single YouTube video. Stop. Just be. If what you're doing doesn't make you feel good, it's because you're not being the person who has it. Tell yourself the new stories. Self-concept over everything. That's it. And with that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, you can have anything you want in this universe. Nothing's too big, small, wide, or expensive. I believe in you. You should believe in you. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!